I'm Callie Bomberry. I'm with Seeing Red. I'm your brand ambassador, and we're here at the Textile Museum with Amber-Dawn Bear Robe, a guest curator here, where she has curated an exhibit called Always in Fashion. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and how this exhibit came to be.
My name is Amber-Dawn Bear Robe. My Blackfoot name is Many Butterfly Woman, and I was invited to be the guest curator of the Textile Museum of Canada. And I have curated an Indigenous fashion show called Always in Fashion because I believe the Indigenous artists of Canada and the United States have been the original couturiers of this region.
Yes, and tell us a little bit about the exhibit in itself. How did you choose the designers? What looks did you curate together?
Well, this was a good 2 years in the making. So it's research, it's conversations, it's what's available from collectors and from designers, and it's a whole curatorial process. And it is also I am an art historian and I teach Indigenous fashion studies at Parsons in New York City. And why am I stating that? I'm stating that because Indigenous fashion studies is very new to academia. In fact, it barely exists in fashion studies at all. When you look at diversity in fashion, usually Native fashion is a footnote or an endnote. And so it's really important to bring awareness and conversation and dialogue and discourse and writing and publication to and about Indigenous fashion and their creations beyond runway shows and beyond entertainment. And so that's what I'm really trying to do here with the show. But because Indigenous fashion is also, I want to say over the past 10 years has had a surgence of attention, there are a lot of designers who really don't have many collections in their own personal care because they're purchased by museums or they're sold to customers, which they should be. So it is also a challenge just to get collections and designs for a show such as this and for it to be relevant and part of current conversation and discourse. And that's what this show is about, is looking at the good, the bad, the beautiful, and the ugly of Indigenous fashion.
When you were approached for this exhibit, was there a look that you immediately thought that has to be in there?
No, there was not. There wasn't a specific look, but there were definitely specific designers that are important to tell the whole story. And the exhibition really does start with the designers who were the first and foremost to come to my mind in telling this narrative of Indigenous fashion.
And who were the first few designers that you approached for this project?
I should say, a plethora of designers come to my mind, and who I love to work with, who I want to work with. There's also artists who merge that line between art and fashion who have always wanted to work with. One of them is Kent Monkman, who is actually in this show. But the exhibition here actually starts with Dorothy Grant, who I consider a matriarch of Indigenous fashion, and who recently just got the inaugural Indigenous Fashion Award from CAFA in Montreal. So she kind of starts out the exhibition in what we're calling the runway room, and was so essential to laying the groundwork to leading the path for emerging Indigenous designers who are really doing well and making significant work today, such as Jonte Com, who is on the runway beside Dorothy Grant in the runway room in the exhibition.
You spoke a little bit about this huge surgence of Indigenous fashion weeks popping up. How do you feel about that, and what do you want to see going forward into?
I think it's great. When I first moved to Santa Fe, New Mexico in 2012, I produced runway show for Indigenous fashion designers at the Museum of Contemporary Native Arts. And those designers were Orlando Yugai, Jamie Okuma, Shosho Esquero, and Bethany Yellowtail. And since then, I produced a fashion show every year. And when I first started, there were hardly any productions like that happening nationwide. And to now see Indigenous runway shows popping up in urban and rural communities and centers across Canada and the United States is fantastic. It's phenomenal. So happy to see this happening. And so I'm also thrilled to be to get out of the fashion runway production business, because that is a tough business to be in. And I'm happy to get back to my roots of curatorial education and teaching Indigenous fashion studies at Parsons, and to have time to curate exhibitions such as this. So this is just the beginning.
Yes, definitely. It's a beautiful curated exhibit. We at Seeing Red, we produce a show called Runway of Resilience. What do you believe that resilience means in Indigenous fashion?
Resilience means, to me, I don't like to use terminology that can be cliche or meaningless, such as decolonize or reducing a movement to a hashtag. So to me, being resilient is always moving forward, be true to my voice, and centered in conversations and dialogues that I believe need to move forward, that need to be addressed and discussed within media and scholarship. And that includes exhibitions such as this. I wish I was a fashion designer, but I am not. But my artistic outlet and vision is produced with by putting together shows such as this.
Yes, amazing. Do you have any last words you'd like to give about the exhibition and why people need to come see this?
This is an opportunity to see works produced by Indigenous designers from across Canada and the United States. Also, it's a body of work that a lot of it premiered in Santa Fe, New Mexico in 2025. But this is also an opportunity to look at the works that have caused a little bit of controversy, or works that conceptually go into depths of conversation that might be uneasy, but it's also an exhibition to come and celebrate and to have fun. So to me, this is a show that is taking Indigenous fashion to the next level that it needs to go in terms of discussion and dialogue.
And not to take too much more of your time, this question is kind of like asking who your favorite child is, but do you have a favorite look? Do you have a favorite look at all?
My favorite child is my dog. I do not have, yes, I will say I do have a favorite look, and I usually do not. But my favorite look is my grandma Maggie Bear Robe's dress. This was made circa 1930, and to me, it's really representative of Indigenous artists have always been in fashion. It's just historically the work has been framed from an anthropological, ethnographic lens. And this is also my grandmother and then my father, who recently passed away. The circle is symbolic of the Big Rock teepee design. And so this is a warm, welcoming gesture to the visitor, but also to remind people this is one Blackfoot curator's perspective on Indigenous fashion. And so for this show in particular, I have a great connection to this dress right here. But they're all my favorite.
Yes. Great. That's all I have. Thank you so much for speaking with us.
Thank you.
Yep.